The lower court ruling said that anyone who's going to be removed to a third country, meaning not their country of origin, should be afforded a time period, about 10 days, to fight the deportation to that country, maybe by seeking asylum or bringing a federal lawsuit. And what has surprised most people, the Supreme Court lifted those protections, which essentially means that immigrants who are detained and who are being deported now can be deported to a country that is not their own without any due process rights to stop or to block it.
And that seems significant to me because it's not just, the case is not so much about whether the immigrants are being deported. It's the idea that they're not even getting due process to challenge the idea that they're being sent to a third country, which oftentimes can be very violent countries like South Sudan, or talking about the infamous prison in El Salvador. So really that issue comes down to the lack of due process, which should be concerning not just to immigrants, but really to anyone, that we're now cracking this door open to the idea of people being removed from the country and being sent to these, third countries really without any due process whatsoever. It seems to me like that could potentially be a very slippery slope.
Yes, definitely agree. I mean, and we're not deporting people to freedom in other countries. As you mentioned, we're deporting them primarily to these third-party deportations to prisons, or even like in South Sudan, some people can be sold into slavery. I mean, these are really horrific conditions. And the fact that the Supreme Court was willing to lift these protections even when the Trump administration has been violating lower court orders and deporting people to third-party countries against the order, thereby demonstrating bad faith, that's why I say it's so shocking that the Supreme Court issued this decision. I think most people who have been paying attention to the Supreme Court did not expect this to happen, because they've been generally ruling, for due process against these deportations, like under the Alien Enemies Act and things like that. So it's been a bit of a surprise, and frankly, it's been sending real waves of terror through the immigrant community. I mean, the reality is most people aren't going to get deported to a third country. Most people would get deported to their own country. But that doesn't mean that everybody who is potentially facing deportation doesn't now worry about that. So I talked to a U.S. citizen, husband of a Mexican woman who was detained last night, and he's terrified that his wife is going to end up in some other country. So I think a lot of people are really scared because, to your point, there's no protection. It's sort of whatever the government wants to do.